You wouldn't build a house without a foundation, so why try to build a business without one? Grow your contracting business and grow your mind with Growth Mindset Monday.
Here we are, another beautiful Monday and another week that we got to build, or I should say continue to build that contracting business that we've been working on. Welcome to Mindset Monday. My name is Garrett Bake. I am the founder of the American Contractor Network, the Build Pro framework, which you guys will all be getting access to here shortly. And we are here in partnership with Justin Smith and our good friends at Contractor Plus. You guys know the drill. If you're here live, go ahead and drop your name, your business name, and where you're from so we can go ahead and shout you out. While we're waiting for some comments, I'll fill you in on this last week. I'm going to tell you some really fun and interesting facts, okay? Some of them have to do with my personal life, and then some of them have to do with the industry in general. I've taught two continuing education classes over the last couple of weeks. Both of them were full of contractors across the board, small, large, anywhere from chucking a truck to one guy I think had 150 employees last week. That was at one of the classes. But I will tell you this, it doesn't matter the size of your contracting business. You're going to have problems. And the bigger the company, the bigger the problems. Now, understand this, if you want to grow, you got to get better at solving bigger problems. But the problems are never going to go away. They will never go away. You will always have those issues. This particular company that I was talking to, the owner of 150 employees, and literally he goes, there's weekends that I stay awake at night wondering if it's all going to fail tomorrow. 150 employees. I will tell you the revenue's north of $75 million. And he still sometimes lies awake at night wondering if he's going to make it or not. So again, don't be dissuaded and don't be frustrated. Understand that, again, you'll get paid in proportion to the problems that you solve. So we got a couple folks in with us live right now. We got Jitterbug Home Services. Looks like Logan from Central Florida. We got Angel Pena, Angel AP Property Solutions from upstate New York. Welcome to the show. Frank Underdown. Kawina Nanoscience Center. Wow. Lake Jackson, Texas. I don't know where Lake Jackson, Texas is. Only been to Texas a few times. Pretty damn good barbecue, I'll tell you that. Welcome you all to the show. Now, the other part of my week was this weekend. I actually ran a half marathon. Now I'm training to run a full marathon, but the reason I'm training to run a full marathon is because in May, I've got a few buddies in me that are going to hike the Grand Canyon. We're doing something called rim to rim to rim. We start at the south rim of the Grand Canyon, hike down across, back up to the north rim, then back down across, and then back to the south rim. It's about 50 miles complete round trip. It's one hell of a journey, we'll call it. I think there's 20,000 feet of elevation gain across the board, what you go through. So anyway, needless to say, it's going to be pretty intense. So the reason I was running a half marathon is so I could train for the full marathon. The only reason I'm training for the full marathon is so that I can be prepared for this rim to rim to rim. Now, it was a beautiful Saturday morning, a little cool, mid 40s, light sprinkle, But it was like for running weather, you couldn't ask for anything more. It's beautiful, right? And we start running, and I'm not necessarily the fastest guy. I've never have been. I used to be okay, but not until recently. I haven't run any races for a couple of years. And so this was a chance to kind of get back into the swing of things. Well, my mind and my body fight very often. And my body is like, hey, dummy, you're not as fast as you think you are. So maybe you should slow down. My mind's like, hey, I can keep pace with these guys. And of course, my mind always seems to win, at least for a while, till my body gives out. So we're going through this race, and uphill, downhill, flat, uphill, downhill, flat, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we get to about mile 10. And all of a sudden, the body's not responding the way that I wanted the body to respond. Now, up until this point, though, I've actually outperformed myself by an average of about a minute to a minute and a half per mile, which is pretty good for where it is that you've been training to where it is that you're running. Now, it's really interesting, though. It's like once the wheels came off, the wheels came off. And I was doing a combination of walk, run, and I slowed down. I still managed to finish the half within an 8-minute and 30-second pace. So I finished, I think, with 1 hour, 52 minutes and some change, which isn't bad. Not the best, but it isn't bad. But as I was driving home with my throbbing legs, I realized a couple of things, right? Number one is I realized that you can't fake putting miles on your legs. What do I mean by that? I mean, it takes time to get your body and your legs used to running distance and speed. It just takes time. When I was training to try and qualify for the Boston Marathon, which is by invite only, I was averaging about 7 minutes and 22 seconds per mile. This one I ran at 8:30, and it was a struggle. So a minute slower, right? But it's all perspective. It's all relative. It's where I was in comparison to my preparation, right? Now, what does that have to do with you and your contracting business? Everything that you do for your business right now is going to happen in relation to your preparation for that thing, right? We would all love to like just put a sign on the side of our truck, and all of a sudden our phone is flooded with high quality leads willing to pay us whatever dollar amount we ask for our services. But we all know it doesn't happen that way. But we all want it to happen that way, right? But you have to put in the reps. We all want that next hire to be the hire, the person that finally gets me off the tools, gets that tool belt off. I can stay in the office. They can be out in the field, and we're off to the races. But it's not really that way, right? So everything that you do in your business, and therefore in your life, understand that you got to put in the reps. You got to put in the miles. You got to put in the work that will get you to that point. I'm at a point right now where we have 5 employees, and this is probably the hardest time I've ever had with employees. Handling 1, okay, not so bad. 2, once you get past 3, it's crazy. It's like kids. I got 3 kids, and once we got to 3, it was like I was outnumbered. Now I'm outnumbered by my employees, right? But talking to my wife this weekend, the conversation was around, it's really hard to manage people. And I told her, I was like, I feel like I'm failing as a leader. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? Now, for those of you that don't know, yes, we have our consulting business where we work with contractors, but we also have a commercial construction management company where we help large GCs and investors find particular trades for jobs, manage them, and then that's how we get paid, right? So call us a mini GC, I guess you could say. And it's the same thing there, right? I'm learning that as much as I would like to trust these subs with their bids, I can't. I have to go back and I have to verify. And as much as I'd love to trust that our estimators' numbers are on, I can't. I have to go back and I have to verify. It's just the point where I'm at right now, right? And I just have to embrace that. So I want to share a couple of things with you guys here in a few minutes. First, I want to let Frank's comment come up here on screen. He says, years ago, my family hiked the Grand Canyon. My wife was 7 months pregnant with our 3rd child when we did the hike. Good Lord, Frank, what are you trying to do? Have a kid at the bottom of the Grand Canyon? Man, your wife is a superstar, rock star. Hell, she can kick all our butts, apparently. You trained for 6 months to make that hike. So first of all, congratulations to you and your wife, probably more your wife, but congratulations. But that second line there is money in the bank. We trained 6 months to make this hike, right? Bingo, bango, exactly what I'm just saying. So I want to share a couple of things with you guys. Now, some of you know, and some of you may not. I was a police officer in Arizona before I retired in 2017 and got into consulting and contracting. And I bring a lot of my background to what it is that I do. Now, I have been really good about expressing that. So today I kind of want to share a little bit more along those lines. This is very high level. I'm staying very high level because I want you to grasp the concept today, right? We're not going to talk about, hey, how do you add more leads to your list or how to optimize your Google business profile? Like, we're literally just very high level. I want you to understand this. Now, I call it a bulletproof contracting business, not because a bulletproof vest stops every bullet, because, well, it doesn't, right? What it does is it stops most bullets. Now, are you still going to get bruised? Yeah, you are. And it's still going to hurt 100%, right? But you're not going to die, right? You're going to survive. And this is exactly what we want to do with your contracting business. You can take the hits and keep on moving, right? Now, again, super high level, very quick. This is my background. You can see me there on the left with my wife. She's the love of my life, really the reason I am where I'm at today. You can see some folks there in the middle. We run all kinds of workshops and retreats, events, and all kinds of consulting, which we really love under our American Contractor Network banner. We have the podcast called Success Unleashed. And then, of course, Summit Partners, which is our commercial construction management company. Now, here's the funny thing, right? Success in business is just like in SWAT, right? It doesn't come from luck. It comes from systems. Now, I was lucky enough during my career to work on the SWAT team. I worked undercover. I worked narcotics. And I can tell you that what made us better than everyone else and what increased the likelihood of our success had little to do with the type of vehicle that we were driving, the type of gun that we were shooting, right? Little to do with the color of our uniform or the patches on our sleeves. No, it had to do with the systems. It had to do with what we set ourselves up to do ahead of time. Okay. Now, here's what you need to understand. The real problem in most contracting businesses falls under three pillars, and that's it, or three buckets, we could call it. The first bucket is people, right? The second is the process, and the third is the plan. So let me go through this in a little more detail. Most contractors, and by the way, if you're a new guy and you're feeling this, congratulations. If you're doing $1 million a year and you're feeling this, congratulations. This is not revenue-based. In fact, it's not industry-based either. It has to do with your ability to figure out where you're at and what needs to happen next. But most contractors find themselves doing all of these things, okay? Number one, firefighting all day long. I was literally on the phone with my office manager before this conversation, and we were talking about this, and I said, I'm only going to check my email twice a day at noon and at 4. Your job is to filter out all the things that I don't need to know about. For these projects that we have going on, I said, I only want to see a summary of the questions of the subs bidding the projects once a day. Only want to see it once a day. Why? Because if not, I spend my entire day busy, but not productive, right? I'm just filling in. I'm just like, oh, look at all these cool things that I'm doing, but I'm not actually moving the needle forward. Low morale. Man, this is the worst, right? It usually starts with you, but then with your people around, oh my goodness, there's nothing worse than being in a situation where no one wants to be there, where everybody's hating life. Missed deadlines. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about there. Whether it's turning in a bid, whether it's getting a job done on time, whether it's making it to an estimate on time, right? Over and over and over again. And then the worst of them all, revenue without profit. Like, nobody cares how much money you make. You should only care about how much money you keep. If your business is 100% or feels like a daily emergency, then it's time to rethink, right? It's time to rethink your foundation. Now, the wrong team. What's the wrong team going to cost you? Some of you are at this point where you're hiring a team and some of you are not, and that's okay. But what's the wrong team going to cost you? Well, 3 things that are most valuable to you. Number 1 is your time. If you got kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's nothing worse than cleaning the kitchen, cleaning the bedroom, cleaning the living room, only to come back and half an hour later, it's dirty all over again. And you're like, what just happened? and you find yourself redoing the thing that you've told somebody to do or that you already did, right? The second thing, your sanity. Put a price tag on your sanity. Go ahead. Somebody? Anybody? No? Yeah, there's no price tag on your sanity, right? The wrong team will cost you that sanity. And number 3, your money. If you're going back to redo work, it's costing you money. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's costing you money. Now, what do we need to focus on then when it comes to people? Because remember, people will build or they'll break your business. So there's 3 main things that we always focus on with people. The first thing is attracting the right people. The second one is hiring and onboarding the right people. And the third is training the right people. Now, what does this look like at a high level? When it comes to attracting, I call it the 3 C's, right? We've got culture, we've got core values, and we've got clarity. What is culture? Culture is the how behind doing things. If you're yelling at your people all the time, that's the culture that you've created. Now, who wants to work for somebody that's going to yell at them all the time? I don't. Do you? Well, if you don't, then you probably shouldn't do it either, right? The second, core values. This is who you are as a company. Do you pride yourselves on integrity? What about honesty, on time, working hard, going the extra mile? What are some of the things that you pride yourself on as a company? These are your core values. And the third piece is the clarity, right? You can call yourself a trim carpenter, but if you're constantly doing different types of work that don't involve trim carpentry, then you're not really trim carpenter. And so the people that you attract, you're going to tell them you're a trim carpenter, and all of a sudden they're going to be like, wait a minute, why am I putting in this toilet? Right? Completely confused. So the 3 C's, right? Clear culture, clear core values, and then clarity around who it is and what you are. The second part, hiring and onboarding. You need a framework. I'm going to tell you right now, the worst thing that you can do is try and figure it out day up. Try and figure it out when someone walks into your office. Try and figure it out at the different times that you're trying to do this. But I'll tell you, if you have a framework, it makes this super easy, right? Now, here's our high-level framework, okay? First thing we do is we create what's called a job framework. We're describing the position for who we're hiring, the qualifications, the performance metrics, and then the compensation. Those are the things that we're laying out inside of our framework. But it makes it super easy for us when we go and we find somebody who's interested. Do they fit this box? Yes or no? And if they don't, they're not the right person for the job. This leads to number 2, which is simple. It makes it super easy for us to be able to filter through people. Guess what? Not everybody who applies is going to make a good fit. Guess what? That's okay. And you should be okay with that. But what it allows us to do is make it repeatable. And I tell every single one of my clients, and you should live by this as well, you should always be hiring. If you're in a hiring mode right now, whether it's a project manager, it's another laborer, if you're hiring a tech, whatever it is you're hiring for right now, you should always be hiring, because the last thing you want is somebody to quit on you or somebody to not work out, and then you put all your eggs in one basket, and then what? Oh, that's right. You're going to be stuck. We don't want that. Last piece of people, the training. This is phase driven. What do I mean by this? The same every single time. Phase 1 is watch me do it. Phase 2 is do it with me. Phase 3, now you do it. I'm going to check up on you. For some of you, this can happen in one day. For some of you, this might take months, depending on the complexity of the job, right? But you have to be willing to filter through people quickly. If they can't make it through this phase of them watching you and understanding what's happening, they're not your guy. If they can't figure out how to do it with you helping them, they're not your guy. If you're constantly in the training process having to go back and fix their stuff, they're not your guy. So quit trying to force it. Going back to the previous slide, you should always be hiring. You got the next guy up and ready to go. The second thing, document. You have to be able to document, because your feelings will tell you, but I really like this guy. He's awesome. He loves to fish and hunt just like I do. He loves the same type of trucks that I do. But if you were to look at the data tells you he sucks. Document it. Okay. Now, once you make them through that process, or they should say, once they get through that process, now you can grow them. Don't ever hire somebody and let them stay there. People are always looking for another opportunity, a better opportunity, right? Give them that opportunity internally so that they don't go anywhere. Now, the second part of this is the process. Chaos costs money. You should memorize that. And every time you're stuck in chaos, you should see the dollars being ripped out of your wallet. Okay. Now, processes, we want them to be repeatable. We want them to be profitable, and we want them to be predictable. Every time somebody goes on a job site, they should know how to do the thing that you want them to do, whether it's paint a wall, whether it's install a toilet, put on a new roof, put some sod in the backyard. Repeatable, predictable, and profitable. Now, where does this apply? Here's some very specific places. Your lead to sale process. That's your estimate, your proposal, your close. That should be documented, and there's a process behind it. When you kick off a job, there should be a process behind it. Checklist. Okay, John, this way, you're doing this way, you're doing this way, you're doing. There should be a job site checklist, prep, execution, punch list, closeout. There should be a change order process. You guys' head should be spinning by now because all these things you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'm not doing that. No, you're probably not, but you should be. The next one is your invoicing and collections process. If you're not getting paid, you're not making money. And the last one, again, hiring and onboarding, which we just talked about. Now here's super simple, high level, but here's an example, right? Let's talk about your sales, your lead to sales process. The first thing you should be doing is pre-qualifying. Okay, what are my pre-qualifying questions? If you don't have some, you should probably have some. Okay. What about setting the appointment? Well, how do you set the appointment? You should have a process behind that. What about a prep email? And by prep email, I mean, what do you send them prior to you ever showing up? It could be a text message, by the way, something talking about you and your company and why they made the right decision. Help them feel good about it. The next thing, the sales appointment itself, it should be a process, walking them through. Hey, Mrs. Jones, here's the 3 options for your roof. Do you want good? Do you want better? Do you want best? Pick one. Next thing, overcome objections. Why? Because you're going to be dealing with them. So you may as well learn how to overcome them. Then you got the collection of your deposit. Is it cash? Is it check? Are they paying credit card? Do they sign electronically? Is there a contract involved? All those things defined. The next part, schedule your start date, right? How does that look for you and your team? And then again, if it's more than just you, then you need to inform your team. How are you doing that? Is it through a CRM? Is it through a Slack channel? Is it through text? What is it, right? Again, very defined process. Now, the last P, right? The 3 Ps we call them. We got people, we got process, and then we got a plan. So you can see here, the vision, targets, and adjustments. Vision, targets, adjustments. Vision, targets, adjustments. It's a great big circle. You can't build without a blueprint. Think about trying to build a house without a blueprint. Could you put it together? Sure. Is it going to be put together the way it should be? Probably not, right? You need plans, vision, targets, and then adjust. Now, what is a vision? Super simple. Use your eyes, right? When you drive, what do you use? Your eyes. Why? Because they tell you where you're going and ultimately how you're going to get there, just like GPS does as well. So vision for your company. Where are you going as a company? And then how are you getting there? You have to be super clear on this. The next thing, your target. What's your 12-month plan and how are you measuring that? Right? I could say I want to exit my company for $20 million in 5 years. That's great. But what am I doing the next 12 months that's going to help me get there? And how am I measuring if I'm making that progress? And the last piece, adjust. Are you on track or are you off track? What adjustments or modifications do you need to make? The last thing you want to do is be going down a path that's not taking you where you want to go. You're going to have to make changes. You're going to have to make adjustments, but you have to be willing to look at it to be able to do that. Now, to kind of wrap things up, How can you guarantee mission success, right? We could never 100% guarantee when I was on the SWAT team that we would have mission success, but we would always put ourselves in a position where the odds were in our favor, where it was more likely than not that we were going to have success. Are you doing the same thing with your contracting business? If you can dial in people, you can dial in your processes, you can dial in your plan, there is a very high likelihood that you will succeed as a contractor. Listen, running a business is difficult. So start to use some of the tools that are around you. They're going to help make life easier for you. The first and most important is Contractor Plus. If you haven't figured out how to use Contractor Plus, figure it out. They have free onboarding sessions for you. Okay. So you can learn how to use it for you and your business. The second thing, spend some time getting clear on what it is you want out of your business and how you're going to get it. The reason we have Mindset Mondays is sure to work on your noggin, but we also want to help you get a plan and craft a plan so that you can get those results that you're after. If you're still struggling, hey, feel free to reach out. We'd love to have a conversation with you and see what we can do to help you get the wheels moving in the right direction. But for now, you know what time it is. It's time for you to take a little bit of this information, go apply it. It's time for you to grow your contracting business. All right, 3, 2, 1, off you go.